And then we're going to move on to the consent calendar.
All items are considered routine or implement an earlier council action and may be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion unless requested.
I'm going to ask for item H to be pulled. Any other items from council?
Mayor,
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Mayor.
5D and 5E.
Did you say B and E?
D as in dog, E as in Edward.
Thank you. Anything else? Any action on the rest of the items from council?
Move to approve the remainder?
Second.
Motion made and second to approve the rest. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. First item is item D. Adopt a resolution accepting the City Park restroom replacement project as complete, authorizing the filing of notice of completion with San Mateo County Records Office, and authorization to release the construction contract retention in the amount of $58,327. Marty.
Right. So, if the reason why I pulled this is because it's kind of a big thing. If you have gone to our city park in the past and you went by the restrooms that they had there, we had there, they were really shabby. And I invite you to go to the park again and see what your tax dollars got you in this case. 2 brand new buildings that are up to date, they're easier to maintain, they're pleasant as well as you could be in a public restroom. And I wanted staff to give a little bit of an acknowledgement of the cost involved with that and how it was a publicly bid project, which we almost always do. And it should be reflective on how expensive things are nowadays. And as we try to do what's best for our residents, there's a cost with that. So if City Manager, if you could maybe give us a really short, and I know it's a really long agenda tonight, a lot of talk, but it's really important to acknowledge what we're doing here.
City Manager.
Sure. So at the council member's request, I'll take a look at the report. But yeah, absolutely. There were 2 restrooms that were installed in City Park, one near the baseball diamond, one up near Beckner Shelter. The total cost for installing those restrooms was $1.2 million. And so you're absolutely right. It is an extremely significant cost to the city. And first time I built a public restroom, not here, I kind of said I could build a house for that. But just the engineering costs and really what it takes to put in a facility like that. And those restrooms were prefab. And so they were constructed off-site. We poured the concrete foundation, put in the utilities, and they were put together on-site. Total construction cost, I should say, was just over $1 million, so $1,085,000. But when you add in all the other engineering, PG&E costs, it was $1.293 million, so just under $1.3 million.
Thank you.
Move for approval.
Yes. Move for approval for 5D.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a motion made and seconded to approve item D. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Move on to item E. Adopt resolution authorizing the city manager to execute an agreement with DKS Associates for design of the San Bruno Avenue and Cherry Avenue intersection improvements project in the amount not to exceed $59,478 and appropriating $72,000 from Measure A funds. Marty.
So, as many of you may know, that intersection has problems. And unfortunately, one of our residents lost her life there. And I think this is important to pull from the agenda, one, to remember that, and also to acknowledge it once again that your city is maybe not working as fast as we all would like, but we are making the right moves to improve the safety for that intersection. And again, things take time and things take money. And I wonder, City Manager, if you can just a couple brief highlights and what this entails and how soon could we expect these things to be completed.
Sure. I'm going to ask our Public Works Director, Jimmy Tan,
absolutely.
to give that as he knows more specifics.
Mr. Tan.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council. This project is in regards to the Cherry and San Bruno Avenue intersection. So the improvements that are included as part of this project is to modify the existing medians on the northbound side of Cherry Avenue, where the Bay Hill and Shopping Center is located, and it's also adding a flashing yellow arrows traffic signal controls for the northbound and southbound and the left turn movements along Cherry as well. So we'll also added pedestrian interval, a leading pedestrian interval to allow the pedestrian to walk into the crosswalks, similar to what other agencies have done, so that cars are able to see the pedestrian before they, get the green, the light. This project, we received proposals for this project, 4 proposals, and we're awarding the contract to DKS Associates. And the construction or the design of this project is going to take about 6 to 8 months, and after that we'll go out for bid, and the construction is also estimated to be about 6 to 8 months as well. Thanks.
Thank you. And just a reminder, everybody, just take a little more time. When you're going from point A to point B, be aware. And it's hard at times with our streets being narrow, with there being lots of cars, as was mentioned earlier, of getting down your street. Just take a little bit more time. So thank you for that, and I'll introduce the approval of 5E.
Second.
There's been a motion made and a second to approve item E. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Final item on consent is item H, adopt resolution authorizing the city's participation in the appeal of the Federal Communications Commission's orders on small cell deployment. I'd ask the city manager if you could, I'm going to get in trouble. Adopt the resolution authorizing the city's participation in an appeal of the Federal Communications Commission's orders on small cell tower development. And I'd ask the city manager to update us on this, please.
Sure. This item that is before council is essentially asking the city council to authorize the city's participation in a national coalition of cities. So as we know in San Bruno, while we address the issue of small cell technology in our community, that issue is also pervasive on a national level with new regulations at the federal level. And so in September of this year, the Federal Communications Commission the Federal Communication Commission introduced new regulations that will take effect in January of 2019. Those new regulations will limit the city's ability to regulate small cell technology and may in fact create an increase in small cells in communities throughout the country. So a number of things that this new regulation that will take effect in January 2019 does. It decreases the shot clock, which is the time that cities have to actually review the applications, from 90 to 120 days down to 60 or 90 days. So depending on what type of application, the amount of time that we have to really take a look at the application and see if it's appropriate for the city is being decreased anywhere between 30 to 60 days. In addition, the new rules will limit how much cities can charge for the review and approval. It will also limit cities' ability to require undergrounding for small cell technology. Now, currently, the technology does not allow for small cells to be undergrounded, but in the future, if there are advances in the technology where undergrounding is possible, thus increasing the aesthetics, this rule would limit cities' ability to participate or require that of the providers, be they Verizon, AT&T, or any other wireless provider. And so what we're asking the City Council to authorize is our participation in a national coalition. The coalition is spearheaded by the firm Best & Krieger, a national law firm. Our outside counsel that was at the very last City Council meeting to talk about this, Gail Krieger, works for BB&K. This coalition will be headquartered out of BB&K's Washington, D.C. office. They currently have a coalition of 44 cities in 15 states. And because this is a national coalition, our cost to participate in this advocacy is only $5,000. What that will get the city is it will get our participation in a filing at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and in addition, advocacy both at the federal, state, and administrative levels in the FCC for city's interests. So $5,000 is the total commitment to join the coalition.
And if I may, Mr. Mayor, sorry
Please.
to interrupt. One thing that I just found out today is that the coalition will be filing their appeal of the FCC order tomorrow.
And this was a way for us here as a council to have some investment in the community who was obviously having concerns with the small cell towers. It isn't the answer, but it gives us a voice. And we need a voice that's in Washington, D.C. And I happened to be at an event where Jackie Spear, our congresswoman, was there, and I certainly, as she was waiting for her husband to pick her up, took the opportunity to walk her out and educate her on what our community is going through and what we've been facing and concerned with. And again, as you know, as it sometimes is from the federal level or the state level, they sometimes aren't giving us more help. They're giving us more restrictions or limitations in how we can provide, protect, or approve certain aspects in our community. The one we just dealt with was on aesthetics. So we're very limited as a council, a governing body elected by you, as what we can and can't do. And they are putting more limitations on us. So I appreciate the report. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion made and second to approve item H. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Now we'll move on to